One of the amazing mysteries of the Quran is the doctrine of abrogation. Ironically, this doctrine actually stands against the teaching of the Quran itself, which clearly says in verse 482,
Do they not consider the Qur'an with care? Had it been from other than Allah, they would surely have found therein much discrepancy.
This verse clearly tells us that the Quran is free from any inconsistencies. Moreover, verse 634 says, No one can change the words of Allah. And verse 85:21-22 reads, Yet, it is a glorious Quran and a kept board. What is being said here is that the Quran is written on a board in heaven, and is being kept from change. From such verses one might think that the words of the Quran are written consistently and without any contradiction or any change. But how does one reconcile this concept with the numerous verses in the Quran which obviously teach about the doctrine of abrogation? For example, verse 2-106.
None of our revelations do we abrogate or cause to be forgotten, but we substitute something better or similar. Know you not that Allah has power over all things?
Also, verse 16-101 states, And if we exchange one verse in a place of another verse, and Allah knows what He sent down. Such verses teach that there is a change in Quranic verses and abrogation truly exists. Abrogation in the Quran is actually the only way to explain the inconsistencies throughout the Quran. What do we mean by abrogation? According to Ibn Kathir's interpretation, abrogation is defined as the removal of a verse or the change of a verse with another, or to make something lawful which was unlawful, or vice versa. How many chapters in the Quran contain abrogation? 71 chapters contain abrogation, which is over 60% of the Quran. Sometimes it is just one verse. For example, verse 9-5, which is called the verse of the sword by all Muslim scholars, abrogates 124 verses of the Quran that speak softly about other religions and other people, such as the people of the book. There are 3 different types of abrogation in the Quran. The first type of abrogation is when the verse is removed from the Quran and Muslims are not required to practice its teaching. These are verses that Muslims and Muhammad could no longer remember because Allah caused them to be forgotten. The second type of abrogation is when the verse exists but has been superseded by a newer verse and therefore is no longer practiced. This type of abrogated verse includes those verses that Muslims try hard to use in the West, to prove that the Quran is not a hateful, barbaric book. The third type of abrogation is when the written verse is gone, but Muslims are still commanded to practice such verses, as we see in practicing the ordinance of stoning the adulterer.